You will not find a better book festival this summer than the Martha's Vineyard Book Festival. And Alan Dershowitz is not happy about that.
The truth is they blackballed me. The Hebrew Center has blackballed me. The book fair has blackballed me. The community center has blackballed me. I have a thick skin. I can speak anywhere I want. The victims are the citizens of Martha's Vineyard who want to hear me speak.
Instead of Alan Dershowitz, the citizens of Martha's Vineyard will be hearing from Seth Meyers and Kara Swisher on the opening night of the book festival on Friday, August 4th. Tickets still available, followed by a day of discussions with many of your favorite authors. The highly egocentric Alan Dershowitz has been very publicly shunned on Martha's Vineyard by many vineyard residents, including the island's expert shunner, Larry David, because of Alan Dershowitz's relentless and legally unhinged defenses of Donald Trump. The shunning just may have worked. Rolling Stone is reporting Alan Dershowitz, the celebrity attorney who was part of then President Trump's defense for his first impeachment, has been declining recurring offers from Trump and his advisors to rep the ex-president in different cases since 2021, and did so again as recently as June. Top legal and political advisors have been privately calling the job of defending Trump against an indictment in the election 2020 case a suicide mission. Rolling Stone reports that the Trump team is bracing for all but certain guilty verdicts in at least some of the criminal cases, with the only hope being to win on appeal. Rolling Stone reports that some of the lawyers who considered accepting the suicide mission dropped out, quote, because of concerns from their peers. Partners at their respective firms objected to taking on Trump as a client, arguing the firm would lose other clients as a result. None of the lawyers turning down Trump admitted to fear of shunning by Larry David or not being invited to the Martha's Vineyard Book Festival. The lawyer suicide mission is all the more suicidal because of the phenomenon of Donald Trump not paying people who work for him and the likelihood of Trump criminal defense lawyers becoming criminal defendants themselves. Andrew Weissman is back with us. Andrew, your reaction to this struggle that defendant Trump has been having for the last few months or more even, trying to find lawyers, including Alan Dershowitz?
Well, the struggle is of his own making. So as a prosecutor and as a defense lawyer, I really believe every defendant is entitled to legal representation. They're entitled to have zealous advocacy. The reason that you're seeing somebody who held such an exalted position in the United States government, where usually you have the very cream of the crop in terms of the caliber of lawyering that's available to them. The reason you don't see that with Donald Trump is because of his own making. If you are asking your lawyer to commit a crime, which is the allegation in the Mar-a-Lago documents case, that is not something that endears you to get to deciding, oh, gee, this is somebody I want to represent, at least in normal defense lawyers. If you are Tim Parlatore, you don't want to have other lawyers interfere with your ability to do your job. Or, as we were just talking about Beryl Howell in the Rudy Giuliani case, Tim Parlatore was somebody who was the subject of a potential fine for discovery violations because of what was going on in that case. All of that means that you're buying just a heap of trouble when you have a client who doesn't listen to your advice and just goes about doing his own business, up to and including continuing to commit crimes that he wants you to be a part of. And so that is the reason that you find so many lawyers unwilling to represent him, even though he used to be the president of the United States.